The moment we believe that success is determined by an ingrained level of ability as opposed to resilience and hard work, we will be brittle in the face of adversity. Joshua Waitzkin. My friends, each and every day, 10 to 15 minutes, that's all we ask. That is the resilience and the hard work, making sure you're there every day like I am. Like I bring you this show every day, no matter what's going on in my life, if I possibly can. Now, I've been hospitalized over the last 10 years. I got really bad COVID at one point. I was on a European vacation and literally did not have the internet. But other than that, I've been very good about getting this show out. I'm dedicated to it. You guys, the large majority of you pay nothing. Our Patreon members help underwrite the cost of the channel. You want to become one of those, please do. You'll get my latest book, it's dedicated to Jesse Livermore. That is the 3-Wave Trading Advantage. All about the 3 waves you see on the screen, the weekly, the 2-day, and the half-day we're going to get to in just a second. Plus, our 3-part series, Options Made Simple, the Charting Wealth Way. Be sure to subscribe to the video and give it a like. We see that stocks and bonds and Bitcoin, not bonds, stocks and Bitcoin are down for the day. Bonds and gold are up. Man, gold is just blowing my mind. Every day it is up. And of course, we've been in gold since it turned around. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Let's start first with the S&P because I think some things are potentially going on here with the S&P and the NASDAQ 100. We're going to see what happens tomorrow. If tomorrow this doji turns into a red spinning top, that is, if we have a big down day tomorrow, I may be pulling the trigger on a down move. What does that mean? That means going short the S&P. Now, we do have a training. I'll put it at the end of today's video. I've put it out several times as I've been talking about the market potentially topping, not saying it has. It may be, but I may enter a position that I can add to later or pull out of if it doesn't work. And again, I urge you to practice trade this. We're not a stock calling service, gold, Bitcoin, or bond calling service. We're an education firm, but we have a great training on inverse funds, how to make money when markets crash. And in fact, the inverse, just one of the many inverses of the S&P 500, is the single inverse of SH that's managed by ProShares. Now, the video that I'm going to put at the end of today's video for you to watch explains more about inverse funds. The good, the bad, the ugly. They do have higher costs. They can magnify your losses if they go in the opposite direction. They're revalued quite often every day. And again, it can sink you. But it's the kind of thing that if you're ever going to do it in the future with real money, you ought to be practice trading it. So again, it was up today 0.70% as the S&P was down 0.68%. They are set up. You can see the numbers are different. It sells at $37.35. That is SH, the inverse, as compared to $660 or so for the S&P. They are not the same price, but they are set up to move in inverse percentage. So the same percentage inversely. So if, like today, the S&P is down about 0.70%, SH will be up. Same thing goes for the NASDAQ 100. There's an inverse for the NASDAQ 100. Several of them. Here's one. It's a single inverse that I tend to trade, and it is PSQ. And again, we had a great trade here, didn't we, back when things went down on the Qs and went up on PSQ. So again, it is priced differently. The price is not the same, but the percentage change is the same. Take that training at the end of today's video. You'll get a lot out of it, particularly if the market's getting ready to roll over. Look at the volume here. We hit average volume on the 2-day chart, just a little above it. We have a green spinning top below that weekly trend line. Of course, for the week, we have a red doji. We've already hit above average volume. Look at the volume, how it's been increasing. We had a volume spike on Tuesday morning. And then since Tuesday morning, it's been average and increasing Tuesday afternoon and up. So again, lots of things going on. I have a special training attached to the email that we send out for all of you who subscribe at chartingwealth.com. You get an email every day that includes this video, plus it always has in there a link to a training video. And the one we have in there today, not the one that's at the end of the video today on inverse funds, but it's on volume. And it is an article that we wrote based upon Anna Cooling's teachings. And she is a big student of Jesse Livermore and several other people, but it's all about market psychology, what volume means when compared to price. Very insightful. I urge you to please read that. It's not a long read. You will get so much out of it. So let's keep going. So we do see weakness here in the S&P. We see the second week of sideways sliding, some down movement. I mean, you can see where things came off the peak and moved down. So we will continue to watch. We'll continue to see what happens on Friday. And if I see a good down move, now I'm not thinking that's going to happen. Things have sort of been ranging back and forth, but we'll see. If things really break and start to hammer down on Friday, I am probably going to enter a position. You may consider entering a practice trade position in something like SH, or if you're a subscriber there at our Patreon channel and you've taken our 3-part series, Options Made Simple, the Charting Wealth Way, and you want to practice trade some puts in the S&P, you might do that too. So just think about it. Now, as we go to the Qs, it's not down as much today. S&P down 0.68. The NASDAQ down 0.37, and we have a green spinning top. It could be a big down day tomorrow, though. Could be for the NASDAQ. That could turn into a red spinning top if it does with all this volume. With the interim high last week, again, we might look for things rolling over. Our best setup is like the inverse setup we saw here back many months ago. Where we saw, and remember, we traded this down in the Qs. That's where we saw that PSQ move up. But we had all this acceleration in volume. We had a red down candle that was powerful and a nice long plunge. Then we had a green spinning top, then another green spinning top, what we call dead weeks. And then things took off and just moved up strong. Then sort of died for a little while. This is what makes me cautious. We had 3 dojis here, and then things took off again. They didn't crash. They took off again. That's why we like to see a telltale sign of what? Of typically a spinning top, not a doji. That's too much indecision in a doji. And that's sort of what concerns me here, and we're still green. We want to see a red to rotate over. Here we wanted a green to move up. We want a red to move over, so we'll see as things shape up tomorrow. It wouldn't surprise me tomorrow if it's an up day and just pulls all those possibilities. Could be, but no guarantee. Let's go ahead and update our trend line here to a little bit better trend line. We're up 0.75%. Again, yesterday afternoon we saw some weakness, but some ranging in price in the morning, almost average volume. Then things shot up in volume and price in the afternoon on 20-year U.S. government bonds, things moving up. As we look at where we are on the trade execution summary grid, we're paying attention to what we're seeing there as far as the percentage probability of continuing up movement. Again, we're almost already at average volume. So we have volume, again, aligning with price movement, which is what we like to see. We can see in the morning almost average volume, that spike in the afternoon. We ended this latest 2-day candle right there at average volume. So again, things going in the right direction for continued up movement on 20-year U.S. government bonds. Now, the big one I told you before, gold. My words, friends, up another 2.34%. What has happened? Gold has just been released after weeks and weeks of just sort of sideways sliding. It's up, it's down, it's up, it's down, it's sideways. And then starting in late August and really into early September, spiking. Look at this week, it's insane. Gold up again. Of course, we are strongly bullish on gold. It will stop at some point. It may be dramatic when it does, but it is still kicking. It is kicking and climbing. Look at the volume. We still got one more day to go in this week. Look at the volume on the 2-day. Look at the volume in the morning and afternoon. It is just beautiful. So that is where we are on gold. Lastly, we have Bitcoin. Down again, friends. You know, Bitcoin since last Tuesday, the 7th of October, but for one green up candle, it has just been hammering down. So we will continue to keep our eye on Bitcoin as it continues to fall. Look at all that volume backing up the down move as Bitcoin just keeps on going down. That's where we are as we move into the last day of the week. A lot of exciting stuff going on, a lot of things we're going to be looking for. Hope you're long on gold and paying close attention to what's happening with the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100. Opportunities always abound for the wise. God bless. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth.